Have you ever heard the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? Well, it seems like Rachel Reeves's economic policies might be a textbook example. Just last year, she rolled out what she called fixing the foundations, a massive £25 billion increase in employer national insurance contributions. The media quickly dubbed it the jobs tax, and for good reason. From the very beginning, the alarm bells were ringing. Deutsche Bank analysts warned that this move could wipe out 100,000 jobs. Bloomberg Economics went even further, predicting closer to 130,000 job losses. It's one thing to hear a warning, but it's another to see it become a harsh reality. And sadly, the reality turned out to be far worse than anyone predicted. Fast forward to August this year. The numbers came in, and they were staggering. Since Rachel Reeves took the economic helm, the UK's unemployment rate has steadily climbed from a relatively stable 4.1% all the way up to 5%. At the same time, the wage growth that families rely on to keep up with the cost of living has been on a downward spiral. It's a double whammy. Fewer jobs and less pay for those who still have one. Now, Reeves and her supporters will tell you this is all part of a grand plan to get the economy back on its feet. They'll say it's about fixing the foundations, but for hundreds of thousands of people who've lost their jobs, that phrase probably sounds pretty hollow. The foundation they're worried about is the one that keeps a roof over their heads. The criticism isn't just coming from political opponents. It's coming from respected financial institutions, and it's backed up by hard data. When you introduce a policy that makes it more expensive for businesses to hire people, what do you think is going to happen? They hire fewer people. It's basic economics. This isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet. It's about real lives, real families, and real communities being torn apart by job losses. So, who is actually getting the jobs that are still available? A recent deep dive investigation by The Times revealed something truly startling about the UK's job market under Reeves's watch. In the first 6 months of her tenure, the workforce saw a significant influx of foreign workers. Specifically, 46,000 new jobs were taken up by people from India, another 26,000 by workers from Nigeria, and 21,000 from Pakistan. Now, let me be clear, there's nothing wrong with people coming to the UK to work and build a better life. The issue here is what was happening to British workers at the very same time. While nearly 100,000 jobs were being filled by non-UK nationals, the number of British workers in employment plummeted by a shocking 353,000. And get this, that figure doesn't even include self-employed people. So, the true number of British people who lost their work is likely much higher. What does this tell us? According to the Times analysis, it looks like the UK is becoming increasingly reliant on immigration to fill jobs, not because there aren't enough British people to do them, but because they are being systematically pushed out of the workforce. And where are they going? Straight onto sickness benefits. The numbers are genuinely mind-boggling. Around 5,000 British citizens are being added to the sickness benefit rolls every single day. Let that sink in. Every single day. This isn't just a social issue, it's a ticking financial time bomb for the country. How can any nation sustain itself when a huge chunk of its working-age population is not working, but instead is reliant on the state? Of course, a portion of this is due to genuine mental and physical health issues, which have been on the rise. We should absolutely have compassion and support for those who are struggling. But critics argue that Reeves's policies are pouring gasoline on the fire. When you create an environment where jobs are scarce for domestic workers, you breed despair. You create a situation where, for many people, especially the young, long-term dependency on state benefits feels like the only option. It's a vicious cycle of economic stagnation and social decline. And if you're wondering why this is happening, you might want to look at the Labour Party's new trade agreement with India. This policy has effectively created a two-tiered labour market. On one side, you have foreign workers who are cheaper to employ. On the other, you have British workers who are now at a massive disadvantage in their own country. The jobs tax made hiring more expensive across the board, and this trade deal seems to have provided a convenient and cheaper alternative to hiring locally. The consequences are clear: a shrinking domestic workforce, a ballooning welfare bill, and a growing sense of disenfranchisement among the British public. People are starting to notice. They see the job ads that seem to bypass them. They see their communities changing, not through organic growth, but through what feels like a deliberate policy of replacement. Unsurprisingly, this growing public dissatisfaction is starting to show up in the polls. Labour's support, which once seemed unshakable, is beginning to erode, and who is stepping in to fill that vacuum? None other than Nigel Farage and his Reform Party. Their message is simple and direct, and it's resonating with a lot of people who feel left behind and ignored by the mainstream parties. They're capitalizing on the feeling that the system is rigged against the average Brit. As Reeves's policies continue to unfold, the long-term damage could be immense. We're not just talking about temporary job losses. We're talking about a fundamental restructuring of the UK's labour market, a potential generational dependency on welfare, and a crisis of national identity. Is this really what fixing the foundations looks like? Or is it a case of fixing something until it's well and truly broken? The numbers speak for themselves, and right now they're telling a very worrying story. What do you think? Are these policies a necessary evil for a long-term recovery or a catastrophic mistake? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Thanks for watching. And if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. See you next time.